Oh my. Dun 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 dun. We're third time's a charm. I swear to freaking God, man. This is the. Wait, hold on. Let's back that up. This is Screaming at a Wall podcast with your host Casper and
Sick boy.
Sick Boy. Yeah. So this is the sort of introductory podcast, which I'm not gonna lie, we've been talking about doing for a very long time. We've done time together in state prison. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yes, we sure have. Yep.
Yeah.
We sure have.
What are you looking at over there?
There's my door that I gotta pay attention to.
Oh, you got to pay attention to the door?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we've done.
You see the concussion? See, we also are tied into that. That's the other thing that you and I are gonna have to. So let's start from the beginning, and then just do the thing, sick boy thing, and then you'll say that we.
What? Well, I mean, we were doing all that, and then you just interrupted it, and then what the fuck? Yeah. Anyway, so we've done time together when we were younger. We did time in Susanville, CCC, up north, Northern California. I was 17. You were what, like 20 something?
I was in my 20s. Yep.
Yeah, you were in your 20s, and so we ended up connecting. I'll let you guess on what kind of music. We connected on punk rock, and skateboarding was the spark of our relationship. Yes, and that's what we're going to be talking about, right, brother? We're going to be talking about like prison, sex, and violence, and what else? Racially charged riots, and no, we're going to be probably talking about some of that. But
we've seen some of that.
We have seen some of that, but I would have to say that you and I are not your stereotypical, I guess, poster boy for ex-felons, and no, we're not. At all, and it fascinates me, I guess, because of my personality. That there's a lot of people that when I tell them that I've been in prison, they're like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Don't you see all the like single needle fucking tattoos with the shitty tattoos?" And a lot of people don't know. And I mean, I think for a long time, I've kind of like disconnected from it, and just so I could kind of stay focused on being out here and just closing that chapter in my life. But I think, I don't know, maybe about like a year and a half ago, I started thinking about just that journey that you and I, well, for me, the journey that I went on, and spending 5 years of my life, I was 17 to 22 away, and I had a lot of motivation and passion to steer my energy to sort of spread that knowledge that life can be different for people that feel like their back is against the wall, and I kind of helped out a little bit, but I like I said, I kind of got disconnected from that, and I was like, man, you and I went through that experience for a reason, right? Like, not just as individuals, like to learn and grow, but to also share that. And that's actually, you are one of the reasons that I never went back and I changed. And a lot of it was because of that punk rock music stuff that you got all over your walls, and skateboarding, right? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And skateboarding.
I mean, you have been talking about wanting to do this for a while, and what are your why? What are your motivations, man?
I just think that it's probably a therapeutical thing for us individually to kind of go through that stuff, and it also, I think, will help other people to understand, the different journeys that are done through prison. I have a buddy that watched documentaries, and he asked me all these questions about prison and how it was and what it was like and how he sees it from these documentaries. And it's funny to debunk a lot of stuff, or to also clarify that, yeah, that is the thing that went down in there. And
what are like some things that you had to debunk, like, or what do you think like most people's idea of a prison is that is a misconception?
Well, that we're raping each other all the time. That's one thing.
That was just that was just us. Everybody, everybody else frowned upon that shit, but we were doing our thing. It's not rape when it's willing, right? Like you can't rape the willing.
Right. But stuff like that, just random things. I mean, I've seen the horrors of, I've seen the worst of the worst in the clink, and I've seen from, the guards shooting a person to another person taking a lid and slicing another person's throat with it. I've seen all that stuff, you know what I mean? And been there present,
I think
when it happened.
I think we actually shared that experience together with it was like a Cuban guy or something with the with the bugler lid, right?
Got mad.
Yeah.
He got mad.
Yeah. He caught the guy in the tunnel, right? Like so in order to get out to the yard, you had to go in through one gate and there was a tunnel. And then when everybody was in that tunnel, they would close that back gate and then they would open up the other gate. And that's when it happened, right? And at the time, which I don't think it's the case anymore, is that you used to be able to smoke tobacco and they had bugler can lids and you had to pop it off. And it was like 10, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that he was able to do that and slice a guy's neck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it happened.
One of the misconceptions is the butt rape, right? Like I never witnessed any of that shit. I think that was more of a thing back in the 70s, 80s, like San Quentin, shit like that.
Probably, yeah, probably. I mean, there's little stories I'll tell through time that was, where there's stuff happened. I mean, I didn't observe it other than once, which is a pretty gnarly story, which I'll tell down the road. But it was still from a distance and through a window. Luckily, I wasn't present when I had to observe that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's no shower rape scenes or anything happening in there like that.
Yeah. So if you are planning on going to prison, don't be too hopeful that that's going to be the joint that's going down. But also don't use that as motivation not to go to prison just because you won't get butt raped. Because there's crazy shit where if you're not going to handle stuff for other people that, are lifers or like down like that, the homies, if they call you to do something, you don't do it, man. You're going to be the one that's getting, something done to you. Yeah. So our relationship, right? Like our relationship's kind of built on our philosophy, like our mentality, even though we have, I think a lot, we differ like in opinion with a lot of different things. But I also think that we have like the same mentality when it comes to a lot of different things. And I think that's just individualism and kind of speaking your mind, absorbing information, how you want to, and not how, the general population does. Right. And that was one of the things that for me anyway, like going to prison allowed me to do was, I guess like see clearly, like see, like being out here for so long and seeing how people respond to things and how they act and how they celebrate celebrity or money and all these different things that I think a lot of fame, especially now with like social media, is that like everybody's trying to chase that. But when you get locked up and you have shit taken away from you, you quickly realize that shit doesn't matter. Like there's other things that matter so much more. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're in a box with nothing else, it's humbling, and you got to really figure out what you're doing. I mean, I did time in the hole for months. I can't even remember. I think it was like 6 months. And you're in just a concrete box with a toilet and a desk and beds and shelves, but that's it. And I got a routine going. I'd do meditation. I'd work out. I'd read. I'd draw.
Wait, how'd you get into Were you into meditation before you got locked up, or was that something you found when you were there?
A little bit before I got locked up.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're not like you're not the stereotypical. You just don't think about like some dude in prison fucking meditating in the hole. You know what I mean?
But I needed to do it because one of the reasons I went to prison is because I have a hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and I'm always, I always want that high, that next, you know, I don't
The
know.
next fix.
Well, but it's adrenaline. It's an adrenaline fix, is what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
and that's where skateboarding, punk rock all tie into me. But I learned to meditate to try to calm my inner being, my chaotic kinetic self. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and then I did it in there because I was stuck in the hole.
I mean, just to sort of add on to that, but getting back to what I was saying about the experience of having everything taken away, um, I think we were able to really spotlight, I think, what matters, and that, like, to me anyway, uh, is to really like be in the moment and to try to live life with as much passion as possible, which is, again, I think that like across the board, generally skateboarders um, are people that live in the moment. For the most part, like, they don't care anything about anything other than skateboarding. I mean, I know, so I met so many people along the way that, like, they're just so passionate about skateboarding, but but it's like living in the moment, and they're just enjoying that, and they don't need anything else. And I think it's kind of a similar mentality of just like living with a lot of passion, enjoying the friends that you have around you, living in the moment with music, appreciating nature, going out, traveling, and not getting caught up like in all the bullshit that goes on, especially now.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, that was. I think that was something that you taught me. I mean, the whole reason, getting back, the whole reason that I changed was because of you. You already know this, but for the people that don't know our relationship, I was heavily involved with gangs prior to going to jail, even though I had been into skateboarding when I was younger. My brother got me into skateboarding, and shout out to my brother Brian, who's doing like 60 something years. But yeah, he got me into skateboarding, and then I started watching Gleam the Cube and all that shit, and did that. And then I think how did you get they? How did you? They didn't do like an official release for that, right?
What do you mean? This is,
Is it like
this
the
is,
official? Well, I don't know because
yeah.
it was on VH. I had it on VHS, and you
Well,
could
of
only
course you
kind of
did.
get like a knockoff copy from whatever.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
this is official.
yeah, and I think that's actually where the first time I heard or kind of knew about like punk rock was well, thrashing too, but
Yeah.
it's crazy that the Red Hot Chili Peppers were in that before they blew up. That funk punk.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Gleam in the Cube, like, I think it was, he had a poster of DRI or something on the wall, and I was like, what's DRI? And I remember my buddy, who's older, his girlfriend's older brother, who was a Mexican skinhead in Lancaster. That's
Interesting.
a thing. That's a
Oh,
fucking thing.
there's all sorts of things like
Yeah,
that.
but dude, yeah, that was back in the '90s. Fucking, I think I was like 11 or 12, maybe younger, but I was like 10. But yeah, we were in his garage, and he had DRI, and I don't remember what album it was, and it was probably the one where it's like the old, like the mom or some shit with curlers in her hair, and she's like
Dealing with it.
yelling. Yeah, yeah, dealing with it, and then there was a suicidal tendencies, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And we're like in this, and I'm sure his sister and the dude were like on meth in the other room or some shit. But
Right.
that was my first introduction to it, and then my second or coming back to it, like, this was like years later, and this was actually when I was on the 2 yard, and I've told you this story before when this other guy Mike had called me over to one of the dormitories, and he's like, hey, come here, listen to this. And he like put the headphones through the little hole in the door window or whatever, because you could pop out like the little windows in the doors. And he's like, listen to this. And I put it over, and it was Delirium of Disorder, the off of Suffer, right? And it was, that introduction part, and that happened, and then it just like it went into the fucking music, and I remember being blown away by it, right? And then that guy left, and I didn't get to listen to it until I met you, but I didn't meet you right away.
Right.
Um,
But on that yard, on the 3 yard, everybody knew if you were into punk rock that you go talk to Sick Boy because he's got everything, or he'll get a hold of whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah, but but I didn't even, I wasn't even into it. I didn't even know that you were
Right.
into it at first,
Right.
um, but you had your eyes on me, didn't you?
I watched all the youth that came onto the yard because I, like you were saying earlier, we didn't really run with cars. Sure, I'm from Reno, and there were a few Reno people there, but I didn't run with their car or anything. I ran with punk rockers, skateboarders, metalheads, um, goths.
No
I mean,
Peckerwoods.
no Peckerwoods. But it wasn't
They had goths.
like we.
Who the hell was goth? What is rockabilly? Remember Ace?
Yeah,
There was,
Ace.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
Ace too.
yeah, a
Rockabilly.
little rockabilly.
I can't remember his name, but he actually had a trench coat on the yard. I don't know how he got that. He got it through a package or something. But he was a goth dude,
That
and
that's goth to the core right there.
yeah,
When
when you have a trench coat on a prison yard, hell yeah,
holy
dude.
shit.
And then that shooting, the Columbine thing went down, and so that's all I talked to him. Hey, dude, you're part of the trench coat mafia. You know what I mean? Which was messed up, but it was humorous at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, at the time, yeah. So yeah, so we were able to get music. I want to know who this fucking the goth guy was. I don't remember the rock, and I didn't.
He's doing life.
Oh
So
shit!
he's in there still, I'm sure.
And I didn't. I didn't really. I didn't know anything about punk rock at all. And we had a connection on skateboarding, and I think that was one of the first conversations we had, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on a basketball court though,
Oh
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
ties in. That ties in basketball too.
Oh
So
yeah. I forgot I'm wearing basketball shit. I was like, I fucking feel like I should be in Mad Ball or something right now. Like I just like fucking doing
you
lawnmower,
should be.
fucking like, dude. They're gonna be playing next month, and they're
I
gonna
know.
they're gonna
I
be
know.
they're gonna be my first show that I'm gonna go see post this pandemic thing. But
I know. They're playing at a little bar here in town too.
a little
Soon.
bar, what?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be so sick. But yeah, I actually was into basketball heavy because I played basketball when I was younger, and then I kind of reconnected to it. And there, I started that interracial basketball tournament, which was pretty fucking dope. And looking back, I was like, oh, it makes sense that I had skate shop, and I like to do all the whole like getting the community together type shit. But yeah,
Right.
we were playing basketball, and you were saying that I probably like beat you really bad or something.
You did.
But yeah, we were playing ball, and then started talking about skateboarding.
Well, yeah. I think you had beat me, and I was like, I wish I had my skateboard
Oh
here.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I could show you. I could show you what that's all about.
yeah.
And then you told me that you had skateboarded when you were younger and all that. And so then I think I did just on the ground, on the concrete. I just did like flip tricks and
You dude like
yeah,
the
yeah.
little
I did
sick boy
flip
movement.
tricks and front
Yeah.
side shove it's and heel flips and yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you had like told me. I think that was the first time you told me the story about the making the makeshift skateboard and then doing the snow like with the quarter pipes.
Well, there's two stories. There's the one where I worked in the cabinet shop where I made an actual skateboard that I was gonna take a picture of for Thrasher. We'll get into that down the road, but and then there is the chest boards with frisbees with shoelaces to create some kind of a snowboard skateboard type thing, and we built half pipes out of snow and skated them, and it was crazy.
I took your
Fun.
idea. I took your idea after you left too, and
That's good.
yeah, and I ran with it, and then I remember like so we built the quarter pipes, and then we would like jump over and then slide down into it, and we tried to do the cardboard thing or whatever, and then people like because it was crazy like how many skateboarders. I mean, there was probably like 5 or 6 that were there like when I was there, but I remember I jumped up and over, and then I just landed all my weight on the, thinking like the impact would be kind of soft. It was probably like 10 minutes into it. I was having a good time too. And I just sat down on my ankle. And that's probably the worst skateboarding injury I ever had, was not even like legit skating.
Right.
Yeah, but that was one of the things that you taught me. And we're going to be talking about this, just our relationship and our dynamic, but that was one of the things, you introducing me to punk rock. It reconnected me to, I think, me being that kid that skateboarded before I started getting into trouble, right? Where I was just,
Right.
I got back to being me, and I just doing the the tournament thing, and like we would create games and shit like that nobody else was doing in there, like extreme bocce ball with softballs and like flying kites on the yard, like just in my eyes very punk rock things to do while you're in prison, while all these tough guys in Peckerwoods are like, you know what I mean, like trying to clown you because you're fucking listening to the Misfits or some shit. But I think, getting into punk rock in there was probably the best thing that could ever happen, as far as like, it's different for you. You grew up in the 80s, like getting into punk rock, and you had to fight like rednecks and, you know what I mean, like jocks and shit like that, because you were a punk
Everybody.
rocker. Yeah, and that's what my perception of that was going to be when I got out, and we'll talk about that. It was completely different. But I think having that experience of, even when I cut my hair into a mohawk, and getting clowned by the Peckerwoods and whatever, it was a good experience. Like, I'm glad that I got to sort of feel that feeling that you guys went through, because I wanted to feel that. I was like, fuck, man. I was like, why do I have to get into punk rock now? I wish I was around like back in the 80s when it was kind of new and the energy was so, just innocent,
Yeah.
And but it definitely wasn't that way, like after, I got out. But yeah, punk rock was that solidified our relationship. Once I was like, this is who I am. This speaks on everything that I really feel that I'm about. And it just, that's when it just, our relationship, got kickstarted from that. And then you just sharing so much on, music with me was like pretty amazing.
Well, we also had a band in there too. There's another
Oh yeah, we got
great story we should tell sometime.
Division A.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the worst. 115 you can get. You have like
Yeah.
Division
That's the
A,
worst.
Division. That's like murder.
You'll,
Right?
you'll do more time. You'll be doing more time if you get a Division A 115. So
Yeah, so we have a lot. There's a lot of stories, right? Previous to going to prison, and then post prison. There's a lot of stuff to unravel, and again, it's definitely like going to be cathartic, like to be reconnected to that, and I think just to capitalize on what you were saying earlier about that was, so we're going to be doing a thing where we are going to be spotlighting, ex-felons, people that have done time, that are pursuing what they love to do, from tattooing, as we'll see when we cut from this, with John Shin, who's a tattoo artist at Shogun in Pasadena, California, to whoever we can get our mitts on, that's done time, that are successful at what they do. And but talking to him, like really kind of just talking about that experience, and then hearing someone else kind of reflect on it, and he even mentions it in the interview of like how good it felt to go back there, right? Because I think it's easy to get disconnected from that part, right? Like, because we're kind of in it the way that a lot of people are in it, and but that's also why we are who we are, and
yep.
big time, and I was definitely disconnected from that. And why did you want, you had talked about doing the podcast thing. This was kind of separate, but what do you want to achieve with it?
With the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, aside from just talking to me all the
It's just,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I really want us to be here for other people, to be honest with you. I mean, I do want to tell my stories because they're good stories and I lived through them, and I think that they're entertaining and whatnot. But at the same time, if I tell what I went through, I believe others will gain some kind of a, like I said before, some kind of a clarity or some form of an understanding of why people go through the things they go through, how they get to that situation, and what usually is the best way to work your way out of that situation.
Yeah.
Because you and I both have families now. I mean, we have kids, and we have our whole lives, that are going forward, and we don't look back at that shit. We don't want to be a part of that shit.
But we definitely
So-
still hold. I mean, there's a lot of post-traumatic kind of shit that I think that we both deal with, and I mean, I'm I go to therapy. I'm still dealing with those. I got in a fight a couple of weeks ago. Even though I'm like the most peaceful dude, but every once in a while, like there's like triggers. There's still things that we have to deal with, and I don't think that we also don't deal with those things in the same way as a lot of people do, because we have the potential, and we're talking to John Shen about that, is that we can go past that. We've already gone crazy. Like we've already completely broken away from society and crossed those lines. So we know that we have the potential to do that. 1 second. We're almost done.
Yeah, we can go from 0 to fucking 100 in like a blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean it's scary though. I mean it's definitely scary because we see. I see red, and that's it. Like there is no thinking about my child, even though I care about her and I love her to death, and I have my friends and my family, all the things that I'm pursuing. When you see red like that, it's like that's all gone, and that's scary. You know what I mean? Because that's the last thing I want. So it's like trying to avoid those situations that could potentially bring that shit out. But so we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna check out this interview that I was able to do with John Shin from Shogun Tattoo in Pasadena. Learn about him a little bit and his experience with tattooing, and this will be part 1 of his interview because it went really long and we had to break it up. So enjoy, and we'll be right back.
Why don't you go ahead?
What up?
What's
John,
up?
What up, John Shin?
What's going on, Casper Tobias?
Casper Tobias. So I originally knew you as Ramen Saved My Life, so I brought you
In
something.
the flesh.
And I brought you a little bit of some.
Oh shit!
Some you may remember, or may not remember from the clink.
Look at that thing. I want to eat it right now.
No, you don't.
You know how we used to open these things? I don't know how you used to open them, but I don't. A lot of people used to crush them or like slam them on the floor.
I would use my fist.
Hammer fist it.
Hammer fist that shit.
See, I'd open the top like this, and then I'd flip the bag, and I'd just crunch, so it all just falls off.
Yeah.
Falls off the back.
I used to eat those like chips too. Sometimes I wouldn't even cook it. Just crunch it up, put the seasoning. I'm sure my insides were loving that shit.
My insides were hating this.
It's a whole lot of. Well, they don't have any MSG anymore. They're trying to be healthy.
See, that's the ticket right there. I want to eat this right now. But
right. So, oh yeah, what's that? Oh god,
that's a sticker.
So that's how I knew you,
That's
or
sick.
that's how I came to know you, was Ramen Saved My Life on Instagram.
Yep.
And I don't think I've ever asked you actually where that came from.
So Ramen Saved My Life actually came from, I stole it. I jacked it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
that's what a good artist does. Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna take that. It was like 8 years after, and then it just hit me in the head, and like, it makes sense with my life right now. I was snowboarding in Mount High, and I saw these group of guys, and I ended up snowboarding with them. They gave me a sticker. It was like a bowl of ramen, It was like a ramen bowl, and it said "Ramen Saved My Life." And I was like, fuck, that shit's awesome. you know.
Yeah. Had those guys ever done time or anything, or they just were big fans of
Nah,
ramen?
they were just some party guys. I say whatever.
Okay.
But you know, and then the jail stuff happened, and prison stuff happened, and then as soon as I got out, like,
So that was previous to going to prison?
yeah.
Yeah?
Ramen
Oh,
saved my
shit.
life. Actually, Instagram was new. All this stuff was new. So
Yeah.
when I got out of prison, you know, I was like, oh shit, let me start an Instagram. And I guess the first name I thought of was Ramen saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first times that we hung out was when I had my skate shop underground, and Matt, I think you were gonna tattoo Matt, right?
Yeah, Matt.
That was
Min.
yeah,
The
Matt.
first time we met, I think that younger kid, David was tattooing Matt,
That's
and I was
right.
kind of there to just see what was going down.
That's right. Did he do the Slayer? On
Yeah,
his
he did that
chest?
Slayer outline on the middle of the chest.
That's how fucked up my memory is, because I
Yeah.
thought that was you.
I was there
is it-
kicking it.
Yeah, you were there kicking
Yeah.
it, and that was like the first time we hung out. And then somehow we started talking about the fact that we both have been locked up.
Yeah.
And I always gravitate towards people that are misfits, and especially like ex-cons that like get
Yeah.
out and they're doing good, and they go through those same struggles. So you always identify with that, no matter what the background is for that person.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, you had told me you were locked up. Where were you locked up again? I don't remember.
Well, I guess, it's pretty standard. You go through reception, and I feel like reception is the same if you're in Cali. You either go to Wasco or you go to Delano. So I went up north to Delano. I stayed there for a couple months, and then, I got I caught the chain back down to Centinela.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and I did the rest of my time there. I think I did like 10 or 11 months in Centinela.
So one of the main reasons that I wanted to have you on is that you're a pretty successful tattoo artist out of.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing it. You work in a pretty well-known tattoo shop
Yeah.
called Shogun.
Yeah, man.
And so you are doing it. So how did tattooing in the first place come about for you? Was it in prison? Was it previous to prison? You got into tattooing.
So I was always into art, and eventually into graffiti. I was like, fuck it, I'll try tattooing. So I did the typical like eBay, bought a kit or whatever.
What was it about tattooing though? So you were into graffiti art, but what was it about tattooing that like sparked your interest?
I liked the idea of something being permanent until you had to go through a process to remove, which is why I liked graffiti. I liked graffiti and then we get down to specific paint, because there are certain paints that you can't fucking take out. Like, even if you paint over, it'll bleed through. So I like the idea of something being so permanent, and I like the challenge of it, because if you fuck this tattoo up, it's permanent. So, I liked that adrenaline, like, fuck, if I fuck up, I'm potentially going to tattoo jail.
Oh shit!
So I'm,
Were there other tattoo artists that were around you that you looked up to or anything like that? It was just all you?
no.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting tattooed, getting tattooed by homies and homies' recommendations or whatever. I was just naturally more drawn to it, because growing up, I was always hustling. My idea was, how can I make money, but also how can I keep it and save it and invest it? And getting tattooed, I was spending money. So I'm always like a hustle mentality thinker. How can I make money doing this? Or how can I get tatted for free? So I started thinking of options, like maybe if I sent more people to this tattooer, then he might hook me up. Then that took too much work. And then I just put two and two together, like, fuck, well, I'm going to just do it. It takes time. It took me time to really hold a spray can the way I do now. So
I was just going to interrupt, because I was thinking about you and just like your personality and kind of like what I get from you is that you're a hustler. Like, when I watch your Instagram, you're like out and about. You're constantly like connected with people. You're making connections with people, and this sort of circle of, I'm going to look out for this person, they look out for me. And you could see that. You could definitely like feel like you stay on the grind, you stay on the hustle, you stay connected.
Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense that you would kind of like gravitate towards doing that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't see tattooing as the end goal. I don't see anything as like the ultimate goal, you know. Really, everything is temporary. You know, I feel like I put the time into craft tattooing because I'm the type of person that I like to pass this on to someone. And luckily, fortunately, there are a couple young kids, you know, over 21 that are kind of in a phase where they're asking me now, like, fuck, like, what do I do, you know? Like, my dad and my family's asking me, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm not making any money, this and that. And and then I asked them, what did you tell them? And they said, I'm going to fucking tattoo. So then they come to me after they tell their parents that they're going to fucking tattoo. And then they ask me, like, hey, could you help? I'm like,
oh, shit.
I told you from the jump.
Yeah.
I wanted to set you up with something because it did something so beautiful for me. And shit, I might as well change my Instagram to tattooing saved my life. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I've evolved. And I'm like I said, I'm the person that I see beyond just the hustle and just that end product. I want to reach that and I want to give it away, you know, because there's so much room to build something else, you know?
Right. Like being a service is, I
Yeah,
think, pretty key to like success in general. Like,
Absolutely.
if you're a service to somebody else, you're helping someone else along. It's just like it creates this sort of energy field around you where it's just like it comes full circle nonstop, and it's just beneficial towards it.
Absolutely.
So when you were talking about, is it a lot of kids that come from traditional homes?
It's crazy. You might think that, oh, this guy comes from a broken home. That's why it's like, or a super cultural, traditional Korean home.
Right.
But
I'm assuming that's what you are. Are you Korean?
yeah, I'm Korean.
Okay. Yeah.
Traditional Korean,
Yeah.
to an extent. I feel like we my mom and I and my brother, we really broke off a lot of the cultural and traditional stuff. Part of it is growing up in LA. Part of it is my dad passing away in 92. And a lot of it is me getting into trouble, but deep rooted from not having a dad, you know? So it's, you know, like.
Yeah. Is that kind of when you started going astray, was when your dad passed away? Or?
If I look back in my life, yeah, definitely. If I had my pops around, I take a second because I get emotional. But life would have been different. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because, you know, I think I look back on sort of like a similar situation, but you look back and you're kind of like what you've gone through, right? It kind of adds to the fact that something happened like that, right? Like where you really had to struggle internally. You had to go on this path, right, to reach this sort of enlightenment and this understanding. But it was only because of that thing happening with, whatever that situation was. So I feel that. So like the fact that like, I think people like you and myself and people that come out of a situation like that, right, where we're frustrated and we don't know how to deal with something because maybe we just weren't taught how to do that, and then we go through this process and we learn so much about ourselves and what we're doing, but it's only because of that event that happened. And so like I used to for so long look at that one event and just be like, man, like why did this happen? Why did that have to happen? But like I think as you get older and you especially you being a dad, and it's going to be Father's Day like coming up soon, so I wish you a happy Father's Day. You're a good dad, and I see you with
you too, man.
Yeah, I see you with your boy, and I see that it's because of those experiences that you're a good dad, that you want to show your kid this life and give him as much as possible. So my hat's off to you for that, because it takes a lot for people that have gone through the system and got out and to stay on that path. So that's something that should definitely be remembered. You know what I mean? But
I wish I was in the phase where I can give myself credit, because I feel like at times, you know, I don't give myself any credit, and I see why, because there's a lot of work to do. There's just too much work to do. You know, I see a lot of failures in myself being a dad. And it's a beautiful thing and it's a hard thing to see, because you can see where a parents would spiral and start to fail, and really go downhill, you know. And it's kind of how well you can dissect a certain situation into making yourself believe that you can be a dad, you can go through this without being frustrated, and you can like really raise this child into becoming somebody different than you were. And it's hard when moments like just like kids just throwing shit, tantrums and stuff, and you can't think straight sometimes, and you beat, you know, like myself, I beat myself up after I yell at my kid. I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have yelled at him. But in the moment, like, you get lost, you know, and it's like, so there's that balance. Like, fuck, do I beat myself up, or do I just try to be better?
Yeah.
How am I going to self-remind myself if I don't beat myself up now? But is it fair in the long run to really harness on that type of energy and really doubt yourself and down on yourself? So there's like an ultimate balance as a man, especially as men.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, inner battles with everything. Every step you take, it's a fucking battle.
I constantly feel that
Yeah.
shame when it comes to that type of stuff. I always feel bad after the fact, because whatever it is that I do, because I feel like I'm on this path, and then if I do something that's not like in unison with that, I will beat myself up.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, and then being a dad too. But so getting back to the tattoo thing, you got into tattooing prior to going to prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about what your experience was like trying to tattoo in prison.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Just
and
like,
don't mind me doing this stuff.
Oh, no.
I'm just trying to make sure that it's
Everything's
recording,
fine,
it's mixing.
Yeah. Well, you know, so before I got locked up, like I said, I had maybe 2 months of experience fucking around with it myself, which is literally nothing more than fucking drawing on a piece of paper, right? Not knowing anything about mechanics, the mechanics of a tattoo machine. So I get locked up, and, you know, I'm not thinking about tattooing, but
Right, it's the last thing you're thinking about.
Yeah, it's the last thing I'm thinking about. But
how much time did you get?
Well, I was looking at 15.
Oh, you were looking at 15?
Yeah, I was looking at 15, and it made sense, the shit that I had, and then I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do 15, but I can believe that the number is 15, you know? And ultimately, I ended up doing 2 with 50%, but that took work.
So it was a nonviolent crime?
It was a nonviolent crime,
Okay,
yeah. But they were trying to slap priors and all this shit, and they were really trying hard to strike me out. And I was like, for what? I don't have any strikes, you know. But this is just the way the system works. They're going to try and break you, and once they reach that point where they make you accidentally sign a paper, then you don't know until you hit mainline. Like, you signed your fucking life away.
Yeah.
But I refused to do that. My mom bailed me out, did all this, and I went into rehab and became house mouse, and got good letters. So ultimately, my time got shortened by a lot. And I didn't know until I went to reception and got served paperwork. But yeah, getting back into learning how to tattoo, is reception was nothing more than testing everybody's ego. Like, where's everybody at? Let me check you out. Let me see what you got. You're looking at me for 2 seconds more than you should be. Let me check you out. Let's meet you in the back. What you got? You know? So it was a lot of fights and stuff. No thinking about tattooing.
I'm like, dude, I was just looking at your tattoos because I was admiring them.
Yeah, man.
You can't
Like,
do that kind of stuff in
you
there.
can't be looking at me too
it's
long,
like, why
man.
you got those tattoos, man, if you don't want people to look at them?
Yeah. But reception was total bullshit. Once I got to Centinela is when the lifers, they're just like, yo, you got a bunch of tats. You ever try tattooing? Because they're thinking, fuck, I set you up right now. I don't know if you're a short timer or a long timer, or, you know, if you're down for a long time. You can learn how to tattoo, and you can fucking tattoo me. So that's what the old timers are thinking about. Like,
oh, there's always like some hidden agenda, some motivation to try to. Yeah, no, I know.
I'll take this guy under my wing. He's gonna be my fucking guy.
Yeah.
But they set me up, and they got real ink and all this stuff, and I was like, I'll try. So I spent the whole day in my cell, like, trying to figure out how to work this shit. Like, what the fuck is this? And then I find out it comes out of a CD player, and that's when like this nerd started running in my head. Like, okay, I got the time. Let me fucking build something. Like, so I don't know. I just got into it, and like, just fucking wanted to tattoo, and on top of that, not being able to get in contact with your family, knowing that you don't have any money in your books, and
Hustle.
the hustle mentality in my head.
The
I'm
hustle mentality is like, how am I gonna fucking make money?
Exactly. The reason I got locked up is I'm selling shit. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
So maybe I can get good enough to sell these tattoos, and just kept practicing and practicing, giving like inmates like a couple free tattoos here and there, and then all of a sudden soups start coming in and packages start coming in.
The top ramen started coming in. Started rolling right in.
That's fucking currency right there.
Yeah. You made it when you get a couple cases for.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna keep this and frame this. Thank you for bringing this. I'm gonna fucking frame this.
That's funny. That's dope. So you were saying you did yours out of CD players. Most of the ones I remember were like the tattoo guns were made out of Walkmans. It's
kind of the same thing.
For the people that don't, it's the motor, right?
Yeah.
What's the? I never made one. I just got tattooed a lot. I don't really know, like how, like really, like what the process was.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So in packages, you can order adapter plugs. So you got to charge your CD player, or you got to plug in your hot pot or something. They have this multiple corded or plugged adapter wire and a wall plug, right? We take that and we just snip the adapter off, and pretty much we get two wires. It's a negative and positive. We hold on to that. That will be our power source. Then we get a CD player from package as well, which is like $100 or $60 or something. We break it. We just take it apart. Either you throw it on the floor, you break it that way, or you just get one of the guys. Usually one of the Southsiders. Usually is one of the fucking CD player fixers. He's the mechanic, so we take it to him. Boom, he'll take it all apart, and I'll do it myself. What I do is there's two motors in a CD player. So there's one motor that spins the CD, which we call the pancake motor. Okay, that motor I like using that one for shading. The travel distance between each rotation was more suited for shading in my idea.
Is that like the pepper shading
style? The pepper shading.
The pepper shade. You gotta get in there like that, and you go like.
I
don't know why I was trying to sound like a Southsider.
I guess.
Or
or Paisa or something.
Or Paisa.
I can come pretty close and fucking imitate him. I'm good at that.
Oh shit.
I
didn't even know that there was two different.
Yeah, so there's also a motor that fucking moves the laser back and forth. Okay, and that is a Jolly Rancher motor. That one's flat and it's kind of shaped like a Jolly Rancher, which is why we gave it the nickname. That one moves quicker. It's a lot, and using one needle, really, you want to shade fast. So I felt like that was best suited for shading, and I would go fucking off with that thing. And really, you take those motors out, and it'll have a green and a red wire, positive, negative, or it'll have a black and a red wire, positive, negative. And it doesn't matter what you fucking, whatever, you just twist them onto the adapter.
So you wouldn't do the battery pack thing where you put the wires in?
No, because this adapter had voltage settings.
Oh, gotcha.
See, it had 0, 0.5, 1, 1.52, 2.5 amps. So which means I can change the setting of the speed of the fucking machine while I'm running it.
What?
That was next level.
That is next level shit.
Yeah,
the
so
guys
I'm like,
that I was fucking with were not doing that at all. Yeah.
So how would you adjust the?
I don't think they would.
You can't.
Yeah, they don't. It's just like one fucking one setting.
I like being able to change the sound and the feel, and that's why I was busy. Because I felt like I offered something a little bit more luxurious to them. Like, oh shit, if you got this type of skin, you can do it a little softer or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to bullshit people. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. But it kind of made sense. I come out here and the fucking amps and volts and shit you give the machines are all different.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had that 2 months of experimenting with tattooing and all that shit before I went in. So it was all kind of working. So I had the time to really teach myself. I learned the tools while I was out there before I got locked up. And then I use those tools to really teach myself.
Were you afraid the first time you had to tattoo somebody?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I
What was going through your mind?
Dude, if these fools are talking about time, and if the time is what I think it is, like, I don't want to fucking lose time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, yeah, man, it's good. It's a fucking 90-day 315, or when it's bad, it's a 6 month. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, if they catch you with like, making fucking inks, or if they catch you with needles, or if they catch you with whatever, it's 90 days to fucking 180
I think they've
days.
cracked down like more. Like you get more time now.
Yeah.
For that type of shit.
I've gotten caught a lot.
Do you do you remember what the first tattoo was?
The first tattoo I made, I was reading a lot of Buddhism books, and there was Buddha sitting on top of a lotus flower, and
Pretty standard stuff.
yeah, my homie, damn, I know this fool still till this day, because we're still homies to this day. He got out before I did, and we still talk, Like, we still talk. His name is Daffy from fucking Vice Lords. He's a blood, and he would always fuck with me, man. Like, that dude was mad cool. He would always come to my bunk and like, yo, what's up, Jay? Like, I'm like, yo, let's give you a tat real quick. I want to bless you before you go home. This is like your going home present. I think that was the first tattoo I made, and
That's dope.
yeah, it came out like shit. Looking like a fucking dog shit.
Yeah, I'm full of
I
those.
mean, I'm not gonna lie and say, fuck yeah, that Buddha looks like a Buddha.
Yeah.
I'm just happy he was fucking dark skinned, and
Yeah.
that fool like didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
All right.
And you still talk to that dude?
Yeah, he's
That's
my buddy
dope.
on Instagram.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, he actually, as when I got out and paroled, I opened my own studio in K-Town, like months after I got out. I actually hit him up. I'm like, yo, I'm out. What's up? Let's kick it.
Yeah.
He brings over his whole family, and
The whole family?
Yeah.
The whole squad? The
yeah,
whole
and
squad?
get tatted,
Oh, shit, really?
and just like throw me money, and I'm like,
Damn.
this is the best thing.
Right out the gate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still a shit tattooer, but fuck you, like you
Let's
support me.
Let's get back to.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. I feel like we're gonna have to probably do this in 2 segments.
I'm down.
Because, yeah. The ink. I feel like we were missing an ingredient to the process of tattooing in prison. And so we got the setup from the CD player. And then besides the motor, or aside from the motor, what other process went into making the gun? And then how the fuck did you guys get ink, to tattoo with?
Oh, okay. Well, this is gonna be pretty fast. So,
Can you check that? Is that on?
yeah, it's recording. It's got a red dot.
Is that at 26? Because I think we got like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I should have brought, unless you have a computer and I could transfer these, I should have brought my computer.
Oh, it's fine.
I may have 2 SD cards. Anyway, do
Okay.
you have any SD cards? No?
You're asking the wrong guy, man.
I am, man. It's like, you're like, I do. Here's this
Here's a
fucking
laptop.
4.
Here's
Yeah.
I know what you needed.
Isn't
Micro
you're,
SD.
You're like, I got a fucking tattoo gun. That's what I got.
Hold on, I got the SD card somewhere
Yeah.
back here.
You got the razor blade back there. I know what's up.
Damn, you calling me a hyena?
Oh.
Fuck, only down ass hyenas.
Oh,
do that
shit. Yeah, that's what's up.
So, let's say for instance, this is our CD player motor, the Pancake, and this pin right here will be where you smack your CD. Leave that alone. Okay, we have our motor and our wire hooked up already, so we have to make a tube, right? We get a long piece of string. We cut up our fucking uniform, our state issue prison clothes. We rip them up. We get a long string. We tie that to our bunk, and we either hold it or we tie it to another side of the bunk. We get the pen, and it's friction cut. So we fucking move it across the string really, really fast until it melts, and then it just breaks in half. Okay? So then we get a tube. We pull that top part off. All right? 9 times out of 10, I'd ask an inmate, I'd pay him a couple soups to deplete this ink, which means you have to do this all day, But you're not doing shit anyways. I'm going to give you 2 soups to fucking do this and get a workout. Empty that out.
How long would that take?
It'll probably take 40 minutes to 45 minutes of nonstop doing this.
40 cents for the
Yeah.
hour.
There's always that paisa that writes fucking love letters all day.
Yeah,
I
he's
trade him
already
pens.
empty. Yeah.
I trade him pens.
yeah.
It's like, mira, trade.
Yeah.
You know? So I need this to be emptied because I need to heat it up and spread it. So when you spread it, it creates like a cone on this side and a cone on this side. Then I'll cut it right down the middle and cut a little piece off the end so I get small little tube exposed, but tapered. Okay? So that end, I would stick back onto this side and squeeze it out there.
Bring it up a little bit. Bring it up just a little bit. Yeah, like right there.
So pretty much, either I'll melt it or I'll bring this, usually we have an adapter that goes in. State issue Bic pens are the clear plastic ones. We'll scoot that guy in there. And you can bend this guy or not this shit.
Or break it.
But it's so many ways to attach
Yeah.
this piece inside of a tube onto the CD player motor. And then we take rubber bands from our socks and we would hold the needle down. The wire was the hardest part to fucking get.
Because this is actually turning out to be a lot more info. I was thinking that we were going to be able to do this in 30 minutes, and we haven't even really scratched the surface to talk about like tattooing in the clink, let alone being someone that is an ex-felon that gets out that is trying to pursue tattooing. And we're going to talk about that maybe in the third episode. I don't know. We'll see how it goes on the finishing up.
Hey, you and I, we fucking hang out.
Oh yeah,
we're good.
So we're gonna take a break from John Shin, who's a tattoo artist at Shogun Tattoo in Pasadena.
Yay.
What's your Instagram again?
Fucking ramen saved my life.
Ramen saved my life.
Yeah.
And thank you for taking the time. And we're gonna take a break, and then you'll catch him out on the next episode. Stay tuned.
Yay.
Yar boys.
Yar boys.
Yeah. Peace. We're back. That was really fun to do. I'm glad I got to have that experience, and thank you to John Shen for taking the time to do that. What do you think about tattooing in prison?
I did it for 3 years.
You tattooed?
Yeah.
What? You never tattooed me?
Nope. I was done then.
Oh yeah, you were trying to go home. You're trying to be a good boy.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard. It's hard, dude. I mean, you constantly have to be watching the guards and shit. It's hard.
Yeah, no, we actually didn't even get to talk about that. That's going to be in our part 2 with John. We were just talking about how to make a tattoo gun, and just started talking about the ink. I didn't even know that you could make tattoo ink with baby oil, and he gave me the rundown on that. Wait, there was actually one time that I wanted to punch the guy that was giving me a tattoo. He was like, this is before, the shift and Casper. So I was still hanging around with those dudes. And there was this dude I didn't really like, but he tattooed. And he, I forgot his fucking name. I don't know. It's just weird that you would let some guy tattoo you that you don't really like. And I don't know. I don't know if you could see this.
I remember that one.
He even put like a little motion graphic to make it look like the guy's going like woo. But so that was with a single needle, dude, and I swear I was there for like 4 hours. It felt like it was 4 hours. It was probably from 12 to 4 or whatever count time or some shit. And he just kept like wiping over and over, and like the lines are just so fucking thick. But I kept looking. I was like, dude, do you have to fucking keep wiping so much? Like, why do you have to keep wiping? And like, there was a part of me that I probably cried up. I cried a little bit. That shit fucking was the worst tattoo I've ever had, and it's like the worst looking one. So, but
solid. One of the toughest skinheads I've ever known. I tattooed the exploited, the mohawk, that the mouth open thing on his ribs, same area as on your ribs.
Yeah.
And he was crying. So believe me, it hurts.
Yeah. You're a tattoo forever, put on my heart right here, sick boy.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. You're so serious. I just want to say that Sick Boy's typically not this. I don't know. I think he's getting used to this because he's a little bit older, so the whole technology thing. It took him about a year and a half for us to do this. But we're trying. He's trying. I'm trying. We're continuing to try, and that's what we'll do.
All that matters.
And we hope you will continue to try to watch this shit as we do it. And I hope you're back for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. This is episode 1. This is the Joe Rogan snowflakes falling, not trying to figure out how the fuck do you do a live stream. This is it right here. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Why do you have a robot's? Why are you holding a robot's head? What is that?
This is my microphone robot.
Oh shit! When you put it up to your mouth, it sounds really amazing.
Does it? You can hear me a lot better.
Oh my, yeah.
Well, I can adjust. I'll adjust the volume on it then.
Oh yeah, now that's crazy.
That's what I was asking at the beginning. This is why Paul Sick Boy is being quiet and stuff. Is because I want to figure out all of these bugs so that we can just jam.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Yeah, then he'll be dry humping stuff and yeah. That's yeah. I knew you were watching, you were quiet, and then you started dry humping me. And then we fought in your cell for the first time. All right. We're out. I love you.
Love you.
Much. All right, we're out of here. Peace. And hey, one more question. Oh, you're from LA? Oh, you're from Atlanta. That was like an AL backwards. What was your hold on, I want to show you anarchy. I want to show you one thing before we go.
Yeah.
My name is Casper. I'm not going to tell you my real name, but you could see it on here if you want to. Can you see that? Who's that?
That's cool.
That's when I had hair. I grew up my hair. So my prison number was K70283. What was yours?
H72927.
Oh yeah, dude, they're probably on like AAA by now.
They had to go backwards and start again, and then they just put a different. They put like it's KL and things like that now. So.
Oh really? Holy shit! Yeah, all right. Well, again, this is Casper K70283, and that guy.
Sick Boy H72927.
This has been the Screaming at a Wall podcast. Screaming at a wall. Oh, you'll be hearing that as we go out. Yeah. So we'll be back next episode with some new shit. Different day. Peace.
Sounds good. Take care.
Yard boys.